Well, now I feel like weighing in and giving my take on this highly volatile, potentially explosive, and poisonous situation that is ongoing at Manchester City, with Pep Guardiola, the new manager, demanding that Yaya Toure apologize for his agent's remarks, just completely ripping him a new one for omitting Yaya from the Champions League squad. And in response, of course, today it came out that Yaya's agent, Dimitri Saluk, said that he will not apologize, that instead it is Pep who should apologize, and in particular to Manuel Pellegrini for essentially usurping his job while he was still technically the Manchester City manager in charge. So this clearly is a situation that involves bruised egos. Yaya Toure has a humongous ego. You know, when he lost out on the African Player of the Year award to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, his reaction was pretty classless. You know, for him to go and complain and just whine about that after he had won the award so many times when Aubameyang had rightly won it, you kind of tell that there was more than a hint of immaturity from the veteran player. And you know, Guardiola, you could say that on one hand that he should not take such offense to remarks made by an agent, but at the same time, he still represents Yaya Toure, and Yaya is responsible for the agent's remarks if he does not rebuke him, which clearly he is not going to do here. Now, it is important also to remember that the two here have quite the history together. Pep Guardiola essentially forced Yaya Toure out of Barcelona just before his heyday, in which he won 5 trophies in one season there. And so clearly the bad blood still exists, but you know, I do believe that Pep is quite justified for omitting Yaya Toure from the Champions League squad. He is clearly not in the first 11 anymore, and it was pretty obvious he was not going to be there based on his age, really, and his effort. You know, his effort last season at times was comical. It was pretty hilarious, but this is a situation that could really become toxic for Manchester City because for many years, Yaya Toure was clearly, hands down, the best player in this Manchester City squad. So as long as he's there in the dressing room, Yaya Toure will command a certain level of respect from the Manchester City players, even if Guardiola himself is not going to give it to him. Clearly, the Joe Hart saga, it might not even be appropriate to call it a saga because it was so brief, but the Joe Hart conflict did not have a negative residual effect as Guardiola has gone on to win 8 consecutive games to begin his Manchester City tenure. So it's hard to argue with the results of Guardiola thus far. But if Pep is not careful here, if he lets his notorious temper get the better of him, it could backfire. And that is even looking from the outside, looking at a Manchester City team that is clearly the best team in England right now, a clear front runner to win the English Premier League. Now, we said that same thing about Manchester City for the first couple of months last season, and how did that play out? So, you know, you can't put the cart before the horse. There's still plenty of football left to be played. However, this could have negative ramifications, particularly in the Champions League. So, with that, I don't want to say anyone is right or anyone is wrong here. You know, it's clearly a matter of bruised egos in play. The moral of the story here is egos can oftentimes get in the way of the ultimate goal. And for Manchester City, they're going to have to keep their eyes on the prize.